So, I hope you guys are doing well. So, I just wanted to do a quick live, especially since, I said I was going to do live. So, I'm just going to do as many as I can on Saturdays, probably around the same time if I can, between like 9 and 10. And I'm also probably going to get back into reading the Silmarillion. I'm not really going to do that tonight. What I wanted to do, though, is got a couple videos that I'm finishing off. So if you're just joining, so what I'm going to do is I noticed basically that when I was working on Secret Invasion, that even though Secret Invasion, of course, is not made by the same people as Rings of Power, I just kind of noticed something, and it's not going to be, I'm not going to talk about heavy spoilers, but I just kind of saw some of the same problems that I saw with like Rings of Power, the first few episodes. So, Secret Invasion, some people really, really loved it. For me, I was kind of like a meh. It's a little bit like midpoint, mid range. Excuse me. And some of the things that really just kind of came up that were really comparable to Rings of Power were the fact that, for some strange reason, the best acting was coming from the villains. And that's only in episode one. Like, the most interesting characters, well rounded, interesting characters in Secret Invasion were the bad characters. So if I were to detach and get away from just my opinion of what I saw, if someone knew nothing of the MCU and just came in fresh to Secret Invasion, I would say very easily characters like Gravik would be very, very interesting. I would say very easily characters like Gia would be very, very interesting. But some of the quote unquote good guys, and mostly because of the script, were not very compelling for most of the episode. They just really weren't compelling. I didn't, just even based on the writing, why would I root for them? Like, what's really attracted me to them? And I say that, to me, like, it's comparable to Rings of Power, because that was one of the things that I struggled with in the whole season of Rings of Power, is that just the way they did what they did. For example, in Rings of Power, the most interesting characters were like Adar, the orcs, and also, in my impression, in Rings of Power, the best like acting outside of like I think there was some really good, like a Rondir. I didn't really have any problem with the acting of a Rondir, or even the lady who was playing his love interest. I didn't have a problem with her so much. But like the really big characters, for example, in Rings of Power, it was, I don't know if it was the acting or just the writing, but they really weren't for me. Like, some people, like, they really kind of felt like the gentleman who played Elrond, for example, in the Rings of Power. I mean, he was okay, but I mean, like, really for me, as far as the quote unquote good guys, I think it was like a Rondir, the kid, his love interest, and but really overall, for the Rings of Power series, the bad guys were way more interesting, and the bad guys, their acting was consistently good as far as what they were working with. They were, like, they really kind of brought us in, and to me, what I got out of Secret Invasion was kind of like the same thing. Like, I really had a lot of issues with what they wrote for the script, but the bad guys, it wasn't just how they wrote the bad guys, it's what the bad guys did with the script that they had. I got the impression that, Gravik, Gia, and some of the other quote unquote bad, awful Skrulls were doing a really good job with what they had on order. So the good part of Secret Invasion was not the good guys. And that's why, to me, it was comparable to Rings of Power. The good part of Secret Invasion, like, so Gravik, Gia, to me, they were comparable to Adar and the Orcs as far as the acting, as far as what they were doing with the script on hand. Excuse me. And so I think that's the core of what I wanted to get to around Secret Invasion. I have a full video probably coming out tomorrow morning, and I think other stuff that I just wanted to bring up quickly. I did want to talk a little bit about Samuel Jackson. He made this little comment about like incels because of people going out after his quote-unquote buddy. So my only problem, though, and this is just my take on it, and my take could be off, but really, to me, my first impression, even not having read what he said, is that the main reason why he said something at all was basically just from the standpoint of marketing. So, for example, 45, and I'm not saying this to get into politics, but 45 said something at one point that, and I think it was him in one of his books, like many years ago, about that basically marketing, there's no such thing as bad marketing, and I'm saying that only because I want to quote him, and I think I remember it from one of his books from like 10, 12 years ago or something. It was something that came out in one of his marketing books. But I mention that because, like, I feel like that Samuel Jackson, like, for him to, like, sort of, like, defend his friend, was he really defending his friend because, like, he's pushing his show, or he's just defending his friend? Now, she is actually his friend, but it just, that was my first thought, because Secret Invasion was coming out. So I want to take a little bit of a look at what he actually said. Let's see. So let's see, what did he say? So yeah, it was relatively recently. So what he said recently is, so he stands by Brie Larson against toxic Marvel fans, incel dudes who hate strong women and won't destroy her. So one quick note that I'll say, and so once again, for those of us watching this again, and most people are going to be watching this on the replay, basically what I covered earlier is that I really saw that there was a comparison between, or at least I made a comparison between Secret Invasion and Rings of Power, and I saw that really the most interesting characters were the bad people. And then I'm talking a little bit about what Samuel Jackson said about Brie Larson. But one thing I'll address is he says that, quote unquote, people who have a problem with Brie Larson, that they have a problem with strong women. What I've gotten from Brie Larson from the Avengers movie wasn't really strong. It was just really narcissism. So I can't really speak to her acting outside of the MCU, but inside of the MCU, it's a little bit lackluster, and I think she earned a lot of the criticism that she got. And so let's see, I'll just take a quick look at it. So Samuel L. Jackson, this is from a Variety article. He stood up for his Marvel co-star Brie Larson during a recent interview with Rolling Stone, in which Nick Fury, actor, was asked about Larson being the target of toxic Marvel fans on social media. The two actors headlined 2019's Captain Marvel, which was review bombed by trolls for featuring Larson's female superhero in a leading role. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Yeah, I think maybe there's some people that really didn't like Brie Larson because she's a woman, but I don't think that most of the comments were about that. And another reason why I say that is because really what she did, and it wasn't, see, another problem, it wasn't just what she did, is how they wrote the character. It was just not really a well-rounded character. My understanding of, and then even from the Avengers, it really wasn't there. And there was less of a characterization, you know, like based on like a full-rounded character, you know, that has a full range of emotions, and it was just more just message and nothing else. If you have a character, okay, they have a message, and then they're able to experience compassion, sadness, and a full range of emotions that most human beings, you know, exhibit, then we would have something quite different. And let's see. So yeah, he said basically something like they bonded for the election, and then they wanted me in the Marvel Universe. And he's like, should I do it? And I was like, yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. And then addressing Larson's online haters, and I'm just skimming through it, Jackson said, she's not going to let any of that stuff destroy her. These incel dudes who hate strong women, or the fact that she's a feminist who has an opinion and express it. Everybody wants people to be who they want to be. She is who she is, and she's generally that. And, you know, I kind of go back to that. My main thing around that is like, yeah, I think Brie Larson is his buddy, but I really think that a lot of the commentary to me was just because when he said what he said, he knew that it would bring attention to a series, and this series really needed attention. So I didn't want to go on and on, but I wanted to jump in and say that. And the most important things that I said, I think I broached, I put them out there. Pretty much I'm going to jump off because I need to finish working on these videos that I'm going to put out. And for those watching this on the replay, which, you know, I appreciate your watching, give it a like, share, you want. Later, peace.